Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series.
Because creators are businesses.
What we do is not simple.
Give, the fans everything that they deserve.
Being creative
is like doing a 5,000 piece puzzle.
is something that you can learn and do over and over again.
Always be as authentic as I can be.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series. I am thrilled today to have Miss Nicole Rae here with me. She is the director of social at Scratch and Pro Shop. It is the intersection between golf and culture. I am so excited. Nicole, thank you for joining me today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
I want to get into this incredible career you've had so far and just how it's evolved and changed and all of this, but really want to jump into, first of all, sports for you. Where did sports become the center of your life essentially and your passion?
Sports have been my life since I was able to walk.
Okay.
I got into golf at 4 years old, and I actually was just talking to my parents about this story not too long ago. On Mother's Day, we went to like a brunch at a country club, and I saw some golfers out on the course, and I kept bothering my dad, like, take me out there, take me out there. And I would not let it go all day on Mother's Day until my mom finally was like, please just go. Like, take her. And 4 years old, I just, I needed to do what I needed to do. And it was instant. Like, I fell in love with the game automatically. Um, Grew up playing golf, played soccer, played volleyball, and then really just decided golf was my thing and started playing more competitively, got into high school golf, and then ended up playing for the University of Iowa. So golf has kind of been my life since I was a child. And I was just lucky enough to kind of weasel my way into the world of golf media, and now here I am.
And was there an aha moment from you as you transitioned from playing to then going in and working and like, okay, this is what kind of I'm meant to be doing?
Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, when I started working for Golf Channel, it was like the most mind-blowing experience for me because I'd been a fan of the game for so long. And I started working on Morning Drive. And I remember one of my early experiences was having to call Jack Nicklaus on the phone to get him ready for a phone interview that we were doing. And I was shaking. I was so nervous. And I was like, this is literally like the GOAT of all time in golf. Like, you can't get it better than that. And I had to call him and I was like, hi, Mr. Nicholas. Like, are you ready for your interview? I think it was his birthday too. So I'm like, happy birthday. But it was just like the wildest experience to be some kid that's just fresh out of college. And now I'm working on this crazy TV show. And it was a really wild experience.
I love it. That I would be shaking too if I had to make that. I'd be like, nope, this isn't happening. This isn't real life. You started in research and now leads social strategy at a creative brand. What was the kind of biggest mind shifts you've had to make as you've done these different jumps and worked with all these different sports companies?
hmm Yeah, so when I was a researcher for Golf Channel, it was a lot of stats and history and not really creative things, very, very fact-based. But I think it was a really fun experience for me to be able to use some of those facts and make creative storylines. There was a time that I was working at the Masters with Mike Tirico, and Thomas Peters was I think he was in the lead or he was up at the top of the leaderboard, posted a photo watching Free Willy, and I like did my stat research and all this stuff and come to find out the whale trainer in the movie's name is Ray, like Ray's Creek, spelled the same way, and made this connection and Mike Tirico was like, "Oh, that's amazing. Like that's hilarious." So, trying to find ways to make it creative. Um, but I think the biggest mind shift for me has been, you know, how do you get that information out to a wider audience and make it interesting for them to want to read or like a post or whatever it might be. And also social media is just a totally different beast. There's something new every day. It's constantly changing. I think the speed is the biggest thing that, you have to just like get something ready and post it right away. TV, you want to take a little bit more time and get everything right and facts and all that, fact check. So yeah, I think speed is the biggest thing for social media, but really tapping into the creative side has been a totally different experience for me. Um, but it's been so much more fun than I could have ever imagined.
I love it. And you're in a director position now at Pro Shop and Scratch. How did, working at Golf Channel and Golf Digest prepare you to come into this leadership position?
Yeah, for sure. I kind of felt like I had a little bit of imposter syndrome when I got this job because, it was something that I'd been working towards for a while, but once it finally happened, I was like, oh wait, okay, I can call the shots. Being at Golf Channel, my first job out of college, it was very much just like absorbing as much as I could. I was trying to learn so much, and this was an industry TV, like I'd never had that experience before. And I think I very quickly realized it wasn't quite right for me. There wasn't that avenue that I could really own. And so when I got the opportunity at Golf Digest to tap into their social media and have this more creative experience, I was super excited about that. And then, along the way, we merged with Golf TV and we got acquired a couple times. And I think, opportunities come and go. And I kind of saw the writing on the wall there for me that it wasn't quite where I was headed. And so for me to be able to now have this leadership position at Scratch and Pro Shop, I feel so empowered as a woman in golf and sports. Like I'm given the keys to
Yeah.
do what I think is the right move. I just am allowed, my voice is allowed to be heard so much more, and I have so much more input in what our company as a whole is doing. And it's a really refreshing experience to be at a company that really values, what I have to say and what my experience have been, especially as a woman in golf.
Yep.
So it's been a really great experience so far, and to really have that ownership and that leadership role is just so rewarding.
And we were talking about social media. It's constantly changing. I mean, one day we have TikTok and the next we don't.
Yeah.
Um, with it changing so quickly and evolving, how do you like to stay ahead in something that is evolving and changing that quickly?
Yeah, it's hard. We didn't even have TikTok a couple years ago, and there's this whole new platform that is honestly one of the more successful social media platforms now for a lot of brands. So it's really just keeping an eye on what's trending and what's happening. When TikTok was possibly going to be banned and everyone was hopping over to Red Note,
Yeah.
getting those apps downloaded and learning how to work it and kind of what it means. But really just keeping a pulse on what the trends are and where people are navigating and transitioning to.
Yep.
It's hard to pull an audience into somewhere. You have to kind of meet them where they're at, which is another thing that we're seeing with the website, It's hard to get people to leave a platform. So providing the content where they're at is really what's key.
Yep. It's funny because any given weekend when we've got golf, we'll take Quail Ridge for this past weekend. I went and I was on TikTok, and that was how I saw Scotty and the celebrations and all these things. Like that's where I'm constantly now capturing golf content every weekend. I've got my stuff dialed in to the point where I'm like, yep, I can expect that this is what I'm going to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the one really cool thing is like you can see everything instantly. The
Yeah.
winner videos, like the winning putt and the winning moment, are
Yeah.
posted within minutes of it happening. So you don't necessarily need to be sitting down and watching a broadcast all day to know it instantly who won a tournament or what happened. And I think for Scratch, it's a really cool and different experience than I've had because we have rights to PGA Tour footage. We just got LPGA rights. The majors were working with them on getting rights to all their footage. We had PGA rights, which was awesome. So being able to have those moments to share for our audience is also just a super cool thing that we can do now.
I love that. With Scratch and Pro Shop, very distinct voices. How do you cultivate a brand identity on social without it feeling manufactured, like you're just pumping stuff out?
Yeah. So it's been a really unique experience because Pro Shop acquired Scratch
Yeah.
socials from the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
So when I came in August, we had this really established audience, but it wasn't our audience. And it wasn't the Pro Shop brand. They weren't following us because we
Yeah.
were Pro Shop. So it's been really interesting to have to kind of slowly transition them into what Pro Shop is, but also remember like they're following Scratch for a reason, and we don't want to lose that side of Scratch. We don't want to lose that authenticity, that like irreverent, funny voice that has, been developed over the last 10, almost 15 years. So I think being able to tap into the people that came over from Scratch and their voice and kind of merge all of that together. Very slowly transitioning it and adding in more editorial pieces, more fashion, some of the culture and lifestyle content that Scratch is really becoming known for, but also keeping those funny shank videos or, funny tour videos, really mixing those two things together and making sure we're keeping that original voice, but bringing in a little bit of our new culture and lifestyle as well.
And you just said it too. They have this irreverent voice, and you've had experience on with a more traditional side of the brands. When that transition happened for you, how did you recalibrate your creative instincts to kind of jump from one pond to the other?
Yeah, it's been really challenging. I think that for me at Golf Digest, I tried to bring a little bit of that flair. I love to be funny. I love to joke
Yeah.
around. I think like trends and things like that are really fun. And it's hard when you've got a 75-year-old magazine that's very set in traditional
Tradition.
ways,
Yeah.
to kind of show that on social media without it looking like it's trying too hard or really not fitting with the voice. So there were a lot of things that I wanted to do, but we couldn't, or it just didn't really fit with the brand. And now being at Scratch, we have, you know, totally free reign to kind of run with those ideas. Um, so like for instance, Shank Week we have coming up in June. So it's just going to be a week of people shanking the golf ball and like, just totally funny, and we're able to use tour footage for that and show a lot of tour shanks, and so I think it was definitely a transition for me to understand like those things are okay now. We can be a lot more creative and funny, and
Yeah.
um, we're really trying to break that mold of tradition. Scratch and Pro Shop are that intersection of lifestyle and culture. We
Yeah.
want to make golf cool. We want to show people golf is cool. So kind of losing that traditional mindset and really leaning into golf is fun, golf is chill, like
Yeah.
doesn't have to be stuffy. I think that's where we are now.
I love it. What's something most people get wrong about the golf audience on social media?
Oh man. I think I think the golf audience is a lot more invested than people realize. I think even for super casual golfers, like they want to know what tour pros are up to, and they follow what's going on. And you know, I think of Scotty Scheffler's arrest last year, like that made world news. Like that was huge. And everybody knew what was going on. I had friends texting me that I didn't even know played golf, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, is this real? Like what's
Yeah.
going on?" So I think people really underestimate how invested in the game a lot of people on social media are.
Yeah.
Um, People on social media also aren't that nice sometimes. And I think that's one thing that people don't understand. Like when you DM a brand, you're DMing a real person.
Yeah.
Or when you leave comments, like we're seeing all of those. So it's a really interesting thing to be on the other side of it. But yeah, these people, they love golf, that's for sure.
I love it. It's a passionate group.
Hmm.
It's always fun to see every weekend. It's a different environment, it's a different group of fans, but very, very passionate all the way through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of constantly hearing mashed potatoes out on the course, no matter where you are.
You have really had a very front row seat to the golf world and golf media evolving from Golf Channel to Golf Digest to now. What's one shift you wish had happened sooner?
Oh, um, I think there's two things that come to mind. The first is tour pros on social media. I think the PGA Tour's PIP program that they have that kind of incentivizes players to be on social a bit more has really made a big impact. You get a little bit more insight into their lives and their personal lives, and I think it's so helpful to understand like these are real human beings. They're just normal people like trying to live their lives. And they're cool guys. They just like to play golf and they're really good at it. So I think it's been really cool to see a little bit more insight into who these people are off the golf course. But I think the other thing that I've started to see more of is women in the game. After COVID, there were like over 2 million women that joined the game of golf in like 2 years. And it's so cool to see. When I played high school golf, it was like not cool. People thought it was really weird. And now I'm seeing so many of the girls I went to high school with that are like out playing with their boyfriends or their husbands. And it's such a really refreshing thing to see women coming together and playing golf together. And it can be fun, it can be cool. Like it's a great activity to do. So it's been really, really nice to see that. And also to try and add to that and be part of that that's helping the game grow. I was very instrumental in launching Golf Digest Woman for Golf Digest and really leading the charge with the socials there. And so just trying to find those communities and build them up is
Yeah.
really it's really cool.
And while we're on this, you've managed PGA and the LPGA coverage as well.
Mhm.
How has working with actual pro players shaped your storytelling instincts?
Yeah, it's really cool. Anytime you get to work with the player, it's always a surreal experience. And like I said, the Jack Nicklaus story, but like being able to actually do shoots with these players and like sit down and ask Max Homa questions about his Twitter. And,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, I can't believe I'm here sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, but it's also, like I just said, it's really instrumental in understanding that these are real people and they have been through struggles. They've dealt with stuff. And I think when you get to sit down with the player and just get to know them a little bit off the course, no cameras rolling, you can really understand where they've been, what they're dealing with. Um, a lot of people, you throw a happy face on when you're on the golf course, and then they could be dealing with a lot at home. And so I think it's just really cool to be able to get to know the players and what their stories are, and then be able to take those stories and show them off and help a wider audience understand that.
Max Homa's Twitter is the craziest place ever.
Yeah, I think he's pulled back a bit. I
Yeah.
think it got a little overwhelming for him, but
Yeah.
yeah, oh my gosh, he's said some really funny things on there. There's a couple. Michael Kim is also a great one to follow. I mean, he's just hilarious. Yeah.
It made me laugh. I was just funny enough on TikTok, and Lacey Homa had posted a video selling furniture on Facebook Marketplace, and Max
Yep.
opened the door. I'm like, who would have thought that you would buy in a piece of furniture and Max Homa was going to open the door? But that made me laugh because the two of them on social media together, like, they're just so them. And that's, I think,
Yeah.
to your point, it's getting to see that layer of them and getting to interact with them that way is, I've had a lot of conversations with people when we see athletes in like regular situations, we're like, they're just like us. We can
Yeah.
relate more that way. Those are really nice environments to see them in.
Yeah, Tony Finau's wife posted during the PGA Championship before his tee time, like 2 hours before his tee
Yeah.
time. He was like off in a field picking strawberries with his kids and like just dad stuff, being a
Yeah.
dad, hanging out with his family.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff like you would never know that if we didn't have social media or if they weren't active. And I think those are the things that you see. Like he loves his kids and his family so much. And, golf is a job.
Yeah.
It's just work, He's got to go to work for a couple hours and hit a ball around. But to see them off the course and really see what their lives are like, those are the stories that I love.
It's really cool. I was even talking with somebody recently about the TGL and getting to see people in those environments. I said, never in my life did I think I'd see Tiger Woods yelling at Charlie.
Yeah,
Like
for
a
a
tender.
chicken nugget. Yeah.
Greatest thing ever. But those things that you see these guys and they're walking on the golf course, they're very serious, but when you get to see them in these other environments, it's really cool to
Yeah.
be like, yes, there's a
100%.
smile.
Yeah, joking around,
Yes.
tossing gloves. Yeah, it's been great.
It's nice. What is something about your job that people assume is glamorous, but really isn't?
Oh man. Probably being at tour events,
Okay.
or majors. You know, the media tents are not anything fancy, except Augusta, I will say that. But normal media tents are, you're in a tent that's covered boards over dirt. Like it's messy, it's hot, it's sticky, it's crowded. There's nothing glamorous about porta potties. But it's really cool to be out there and I'm so lucky to be able to have those experiences and be able to, walk inside the ropes and things like that. But it's definitely not a luxurious experience to be actually at a tournament covering it. The hospitality suites are much nicer.
They're set up that we actually, maybe some actual bathrooms and not porta
Yeah,
potties.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There's a bar.
There you go. There you go. Digging into your social media mind, for you today, what does a successful piece of content mean to you today? What does it look like?
Yeah, it's really interesting because the last couple of months, I think Instagram and Facebook have really prioritized this view metric over everything else. They're kind of following the TikTok bandwagon a little bit. So for us, we're really looking at views across all of our posts and how we can just get our reach up and get our content in front of more people. So I think that's always something that we're looking at. But anytime we're seeing a post just like get a ton of likes and take off, it's always such a great feeling. I think the speed at which it starts to get likes is always what's most exciting. And within a couple minutes you're seeing like 10K. Oh, okay, we're up to 15K. Like it's a really cool thing to just watch those numbers rise.
Yeah. You've been with Scratch and Pro Shop since August. What are you most excited about for the next year, the coming years, and all of this with them?
We are growing very rapidly, and I think it's a really exciting time in the game of golf. When I joined in August, we had, 20 people, maybe 30 people on our staff, and we're growing so quickly. And as we are technically a startup, like I said, we do have that established audience already. So it's been really exciting to see the growth of like our show Dan on Golf. We just hit 10K follow or subscribers on YouTube and 16K followers on Instagram. And, we've only had that for 2 months. So it's really wild to be part of this rapid journey. But I think we've got so much more that we want to do in the next 2 years. And even the rest of this year, we've got the skins game coming up. We've got all kinds of things, college golf. There's a lot of things that we're planning and we're not stopping or slowing down. And I think that's where it's really exciting that we don't know what a year from now is going to look like, but that's the best part. So I think, just to be part of this journey and experience this kind of startup mentality and culture has been a whirlwind and
Yeah.
so much fun.
What I love about Scratch and Pro Shop too is you guys are showing college. You're showing all the different facets of golf. It's not just PGA. So people are really getting to see a full experience in terms of maybe kids that are growing up and are following you guys see these kids in college that are more closer to their age. It's really nice to have a full breadth of the entire golf industry.
Yeah, and I think that, I played college golf, so I'm passionate about college golf and I've followed and covered NCAAs a couple times. So it's really cool to see a brand investing in that and understanding like they are the future
Yeah.
PGA Tour and LPGA Tour. And being able to create those relationships with players now not only help us later down the road, but also help our audience know who these people are and start to create that relationship with them as well. It's kind of mutually beneficial for the player where they're getting their name out there and developing fans. So those are the storylines too that college golf is totally different and anything can happen. Stanford's women's team just got upset and um, there's a lot that it can happen in match play. So NCAAs are always a really exciting time, and we'll have coverage down there, which is awesome. So yeah, college golf is something I'm super passionate about, and I'm excited that we're really leading into it.
Love that. I gotta ask you the typical piece of advice question, but for someone who's trying to break into the world of sports content or just doing social media in this crazy sports industry without a traditional background, do you have a piece of advice that you'd offer somebody?
Honestly, networking
Okay.
is probably the biggest thing. I have been really, really lucky with the jobs that I've gotten have all been through people I know. And I hate to say that, like it seems very stereotypical, but if you're not in that industry, find a way to meet people that are, whether it's reaching out to people on LinkedIn and, wanting to grab a coffee or have a Zoom call and just chat about their career. And you never know where that could lead you or who they might know that when you do need a job and they're looking for something. So yeah, I think networking is the biggest thing that I can recommend. Um, I got super lucky with getting my foot in the door at Golf Channel. I wanted to be like a sports reporter on air. Like that was my dream coming out of college. And I very quickly realized that was not the avenue that I wanted to go
Yeah.
down. Um, but getting my foot in the door, and even though I was a researcher in some
Yeah.
control room of a studio, like not really getting to interact with a lot of people, I met so many people in the golf world through that. And so, you might not get your dream job right out of college or right away, but you'll meet people that can help you get there.
Nicole, what keeps you passionate about what you do and what fuels your fire?
Um, I think with social media, when we post something that really takes off and really performs, it's always such a great feeling and really helps you feel like you're doing the right thing or you're making the right calls. Obviously, any successful weeks that we have, like major weeks and stuff like that, the numbers and all of that is definitely exciting. But I think for me, in the last 6 months, when people tell me at tournaments, "Oh, I've seen what you guys are doing on social media and like I'm paying attention and it's really cool." Or people are like, "Oh, Scratch, that's you. Like I love that brand. That's awesome." When people know the name and know what we're doing, that is more than I could ever ask for. It is the best feeling in the world when someone's like, you're doing really cool stuff. And I think that's across all of Scratch right now. When people are recognizing our brand, everyone is super pumped about it.
I love that. Nicole, I can't thank you enough for sitting down with me this morning and talking with
Yeah,
me,
of
sharing
course.
your journey. I so appreciate it. You guys, I'm gonna have all of Nicole's socials linked down below as well as Scratch and Pro Shop, so go give them a follow. But Nicole, just thank you so much.
Thank you. This was awesome.
Yeah, and as always, I will see you guys back here next time. Bye, y'all.